Have you ever wondered why, despite loving someone deeply, you still feel anxious, insecure, or trapped in your relationships? What if there was a way to love freely, without the constant fear of loss or control? This video is here to help you explore the transformative power of loving without attachment. You'll learn how to create stronger, more fulfilling connections by embracing trust, balance, and respect without being weighed down by insecurity or possessiveness. If you're ready to free yourself from the anxiety of attachment and step into a healthier, more peaceful way of relating to others, then this video is for you. We'll walk you through the challenges many face when practicing detachment, such as feelings of guilt, fear of loss, and the temptation to fall back into old habits of control. But you'll also discover powerful tools to help you overcome these obstacles, like mindfulness, gratitude, and setting healthy boundaries. By watching this video, you'll learn how to shift your perspective from fear to appreciation, and how practicing detachment doesn't mean you love less. It means you love more expansively. Whether you're dealing with personal relationships, family dynamics, or even your inner struggles, this video will give you the insight you need to transform your connections into something authentic, liberating, and deeply fulfilling. Stick around, because the journey to loving without attachment starts here. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Love, at its core, is undeniably one of the most beautiful gifts life has to offer. Yet, we often find ourselves entangled in its complexities when it's weighed down by expectations, control, or the burden of wanting to possess it. These attachments cloud the pure essence of love, causing us to grasp at it too tightly and unintentionally create friction in our relationships. Buddhism offers a refreshing perspective on love, one that feels not just lighter but genuinely freeing. It shifts our perception, urging us to redefine love, not as something to possess, but as something we nurture with unwavering kindness and compassion. This perspective teaches us that love is a natural force that should flow freely, a gentle warmth that we give and receive with open hearts, rather than something we cling to out of fear or insecurity. At the very heart of this Buddhist approach lies metta, or loving kindness. This isn't love with strings attached, but a pure, unadulterated wish for the happiness of others. It's a love that doesn't demand anything in return, a selfless, boundless love that extends beyond what we think we are capable of giving. Imagine for a moment what your relationships would feel like if this was your foundation, the kind of love that radiates warmth and goodwill without ever expecting something back. What if, instead of worrying about being loved in return, we simply focused on sharing our love in its most genuine form, giving from the abundance in our hearts? This love uplifts both you and those you care for. It isn't about keeping score or finding validation. It's about knowing that you have given your all, and that's enough. Another pillar of this transformative view of love is karuna, or compassion. Compassionate love goes beyond the surface. It's about being fully present for others when they are in their darkest hours. It's not about offering solutions or trying to fix their pain, but about holding space for their suffering and simply being there, offering understanding, care, and emotional presence. In my personal experience, it's this kind of love that deepens relationships the most, turning them from shallow interactions into profound connections. It's the kind of love that allows us to stand by someone without feeling the need to fix them. It's comforting to know that you don't have to carry another's burdens, but you can still support them as they navigate their own journey. Compassion allows us to stay emotionally balanced while offering genuine love, which fosters deeper, more meaningful connections. It's not about what you do for others, but about the way you show up authentically, and with a heart full of empathy. The third pillar, UPA equanimity, brings peace to love in a way that feels almost revolutionary in today's world. It teaches us to accept the natural ebb and flow of life, rather than desperately trying to control every aspect of it. Equanimity doesn't mean stepping away emotionally. It means loving without fear. It means relinquishing the need to possess, control, or hold on tightly. In relationships, this practice invites a sense of peace that I've found incredibly freeing. When we let go of the need to control, love naturally deepens. We can hold our loved ones close without smothering them, give them space to grow, and accept them as they are, rather than forcing them to fit our expectations. It's about releasing attachment to outcomes and embracing the beautiful unpredictability of human connection. There's so much beauty in allowing love to be fluid and open without rigid expectations tied to how it should be. The Buddhist approach to love, when practiced, creates a sense of serenity within us, transforming our relationships into harmonious, uplifting connections. Instead of feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or consumed by fear of loss, we feel calm and centered. Relationships rooted in loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity do not carry the burden of expectation, jealousy, or fear. They are based on genuine trust, respect, and the joy of simply being together without the heavy chains of attachment dragging them down. These teachings remind us that the purest form of love is not about holding on tightly, but about showing up fully, offering kindness and compassion without reservation. When you love like this, you find not only peace for yourself, but freedom for those you love, giving them the space to be themselves without judgment, without expectation. And that, in my heart, is what love should truly be: free, kind, and boundless. However, the human heart naturally yearns for attachment. It feels safe to hold on to the people and things we love. But when attachment comes into play, it can quietly disrupt our peace. Attachment, in the Buddhist sense, isn't just about affection, it's about craving, the desire for things to remain constant. Whether it's a person, a situation, or a particular emotion, this craving creates an undercurrent of tension, because we all know, deep down, that nothing in life is permanent. Nothing is meant to stay fixed. Clinging to what we cannot control often leads to anxiety, disappointment, or even frustration. Think about it. How many times have you felt uneasy or jealous when a loved one makes choices you don't agree with? Or perhaps, how often have you felt a pit in your stomach when someone you care about grows distant, either physically or emotionally? Those feelings aren't love, they're attachment. Attachment is when you want things to stay the same, when you want people to act in ways that reassure you, that fulfill your need for security. That's not love. It's a yearning to control, to keep things within a certain boundary. One of the most powerful examples I've witnessed of attachment disrupting love is in the relationship between parents and children. It's so natural for parents to want to shield their children from harm, to keep them safe, and in doing so, sometimes we inadvertently stifle their growth. The desire to protect them from every mistake can prevent them from learning the lessons they need to grow into their person. Similarly, in romantic relationships, attachment can show up as the need for constant reassurance, the fear of being abandoned or rejected. When we're holding on too tightly to someone, we often push them away without even realizing it. Attachment stems from fear, and love can never thrive in the soil of fear. Buddhism, in its infinite wisdom, teaches us that true love is not about clinging. It's not about wanting to control the flow of life or the people we love. To let go of attachment doesn't mean we care any less. It simply means we love in a way that allows others to be who they truly are. It means giving them the space they need to grow, to change, to evolve. It means stepping back and watching them bloom without the suffocating pressure of our expectations weighing them down. When we let go of attachment, love becomes lighter, more generous, and incredibly joyful. It's a love that doesn't ask for anything in return, but instead gives freely, without hesitation or fear. When we practice letting go of attachment, we find that our relationships are rooted in trust, balance, and freedom. These are the foundations that make for a genuine connection. Love, when freed from the weight of attachment, becomes natural, effortless, and joyful. It flows smoothly, without being weighed down by fear or control. Instead of being something we cling to, love becomes something we allow to flow freely, creating a space where both we and the ones we love can breathe, grow, and thrive together. This is the love that brings peace to your heart, your relationships, and your life. This is the beauty of love without attachment. Buddhist teachings offer profound insights into the nature of attachment, shedding light on how it often binds us to unrealistic expectations. Attachment convinces us that our happiness is tied to others behaving in a specific way or remaining close to us. We become so entangled in these desires that we forget the true essence of love. When these expectations inevitably go unmet, it leads to feelings of frustration, resentment, and deep emotional pain. But the absence of these attachments does not mean that love is absent, quite the opposite. Love, in its purest and most powerful form, is expansive and free. It is about caring deeply for others without the chains of expectation, without tying our happiness to their actions or their constant presence in our lives. Let me be honest for a moment, love, when it is not tied to attachment, feels like a breath of fresh air. It doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean we become distant or indifferent. No, it's quite the opposite. True love, in this sense, creates a profound connection, one that is rooted in mutual respect and understanding. It allows for freedom, the freedom to be yourself, and let others be themselves without the pressure to meet unattainable expectations. It's in this space that relationships can thrive, where both individuals are free to grow without the weight of judgment or unspoken demands. When attachment begins to loosen its grip on us, something beautiful happens in our relationships. They become lighter, more vibrant, and filled with understanding. The release of attachment, at its core, starts with awareness. So often, we don't even realize that attachment is the driving force behind our emotions or actions. Those moments of jealousy, insecurity, or the uncontrollable urge to control someone else's behavior. Those are all signs that attachment is rearing its head. It's not easy to see them in the moment, but when we do, we can choose to respond with clarity instead of reacting out of fear. This practice of awareness is not about pushing away or suppressing emotions. It's about acknowledging them with compassion and then choosing a response that aligns with the peaceful, loving energy we want to cultivate in our relationships. I can't help but feel that when we let go of attachment, relationships are not only transformed, but also rejuvenated. Conversations that once felt strained now flow with ease, and trust replaces the fear that once dominated our interactions. You can feel the difference when there is no longer a need to control or hold tightly to the outcome of a relationship. The pressure dissipates, and what remains is a bond grounded in genuine care, freedom, and balance. This transformation isn't something that happens overnight, but with consistent practice and effort, it becomes a way of life, a way that enhances every connection we have. It's not about caring less, it's about caring differently. When we learn to love without attachment, we create relationships that are not only fulfilling, but also liberating. It's a practice that invites peace into our hearts and harmony into our lives. In Buddhist philosophy, love is seen as a state of giving, openness, and connection that is unclouded by fear or control. It is a love that does not demand or impose, but simply is. To love without attachment is to love from a place of freedom and compassion, to give without expectation, and to receive without fear. The beauty of this practice is that it creates a space where both people can exist fully in the relationship without feeling suffocated by the weight of unnecessary expectations. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The teachings of Buddhism offer us several practices to help us embrace this form of love without attachment, and in doing so, create healthier, more harmonious connections with others. One of the most fundamental of these practices is metta bhavana, or loving-kindness meditation. This meditation begins with cultivating unconditional love for ourselves. I find it powerful to repeat phrases like, "May I be happy," "May I be at peace," and gradually, we extend these wishes to others, starting with loved ones, then acquaintances, and eventually even those we find difficult. This practice reminds us that love does not require conditions to flourish. It teaches us to nurture kindness and compassion without expecting anything in return. Through this practice, I've learned that love, when given freely, has an incredible capacity to grow, even in the most challenging of circumstances. Mindfulness is another invaluable tool that Buddhism provides us with to help us love without attachment. Mindfulness invites us to step back and observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to recognize when attachment is influencing our behavior. This practice is transformative because it allows us to catch ourselves in the moments when we feel fear or insecurity, giving us the space to choose a different, more loving response. I've found that when feelings of insecurity arise in a relationship, mindfulness helps me pause and reflect instead of being swept away by those emotions. It creates a sense of clarity that fosters emotional balance and self-awareness, which is crucial for releasing attachment. Equanimity, a principle closely tied to detachment, teaches us to embrace life's constant changes without becoming unbalanced. In relationships, this means accepting that there will be highs and lows, and that both are part of the natural flow of connection. We mustn't try to control or manipulate outcomes. Instead, we should learn to be present, accepting things as they are. This has been one of the most challenging aspects for me personally. But when I do manage to practice equanimity, I feel a sense of peace and steadiness, no matter the circumstances. Whether I'm facing a joyful moment or a challenging time, equanimity allows me to remain present without grasping at the good moments or pushing away the hard ones. Compassion, or karuna, is perhaps the most powerful of all these practices. It allows us to love without attachment by helping us be there for others in their times of pain without becoming overwhelmed by it. Compassionate love is about holding space for someone, offering understanding and kindness, and allowing them the room to grow without trying to fix or change them. This form of love is rooted in mutual respect, not dependence. When we love with compassion, we allow both ourselves and the people we care about to flourish as individuals while still being deeply connected. Finally, gratitude plays a crucial role in detachment. When we focus on what we truly value in our relationships, we shift our attention away from the fear of loss. Gratitude allows us to appreciate the present moment, fully embracing the love we have right now without clinging to it. By acknowledging what we are thankful for, we naturally release the need to control or possess. Instead, we embrace love as a gift that flows freely, without the constraints of attachment. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean loving less. It simply means loving in a way that is pure, unburdened by fear, and filled with trust. The practice of loving without attachment is not about giving up on love, it's about deepening it, about making it lighter, freer, and more joyful. Through mindfulness, compassion, and gratitude, we can transform our relationships into spaces where love flows freely and naturally, without the constraints of fear, control, or unrealistic expectations. In the end, the more we let go of attachment, the more we open ourselves to the boundless, expansive love that is always available to us. Buddhist practices offer us a path to love with an open heart, shedding the heavy burden of expectations that so often lead to suffering. As we embrace these methods, a profound shift occurs in the way we relate to both others and ourselves. It begins with small, intentional steps, You might dedicate just a few minutes each day to mindfulness practice, engage in loving kindness meditation, or take the time to reflect on what you're grateful for in your relationships. At first, it might feel like a conscious effort, but over time, these practices begin to take root in your life. They evolve into habits, transforming your perspective on love and allowing it to flow freely without the weight of attachment and expectation holding it down. When I reflect on how these Buddhist practices have shifted my approach to love, I realize just how deeply they've touched the way I connect with others. It's not just about love in the romantic sense, but in every interaction, whether with family, friends, or even strangers. By applying these teachings, you begin to cultivate relationships that are lighter, more balanced, and deeply fulfilling. You'll notice that love no longer feels like something to cling to or possess, but something that can be shared freely without fear or control. This isn't detachment in the sense of emotional withdrawal or distancing yourself from others. It's the opposite. It's embracing a free love, unburdened by the need to hold on too tightly, and fully transformative in its ability to enrich your life and the lives of those around you. Life, in all its beauty and unpredictability, teaches us that nothing stays the same. Relationships, emotions, and even the people we hold dear are constantly evolving. At first, this might seem unsettling or even frightening. We're conditioned to think that stability is synonymous with happiness, but when we embrace the idea of impermanence, we realize it's not the stability of things that brings peace, it's the acceptance of change. As relationships evolve, so does the depth of connection. Instead of trying to hold on to love exactly as it is, we can learn to appreciate it in its many forms as it changes and grows with time. When we expect relationships to remain fixed, unchanging, and forever the same, we create unnecessary tension and stress. The desire to preserve love in its initial form often leads to controlling behaviors or unrealistic expectations, neither of which allow for real emotional growth. This fear of change can steal the joy of simply being present with someone. A romantic relationship, once full of fiery passion, may evolve into a quieter, more grounded companionship. A close friendship may not carry the same intensity it once did, but it may offer new forms of connection that are equally valuable. These shifts don't diminish the love that exists between people, they enrich it, offering a deeper understanding of each other as we change and grow. Buddhism teaches that impermanence is a natural law, everything changes, and resisting this truth only leads to suffering. How often have we fought against the natural ebb and flow of relationships, trying to control their course, only to find ourselves drained and frustrated? When we let go of this resistance, we open ourselves to the beauty that lies in transformation. Instead of fearing change, we can see it as an opportunity to grow, to deepen our understanding of ourselves and others, and to allow love to unfold in new and unexpected ways. When I reflect on the relationships I've had throughout my life, I realize how much they've changed. Friends who once shared every detail of their lives with me now play quieter, yet equally important, roles in my world. A romantic partner who once seemed to embody every passion I longed for has transformed into someone I deeply trust and rely on, offering companionship that has a richness and steadiness I never anticipated. These changes didn't lessen the love we shared, they deepened it. As I embraced impermanence, I found peace in knowing that love, when nurtured with acceptance, only grows stronger through change. To fully embrace impermanence in love, mindfulness is key. By grounding yourself in the present moment, you release the temptation to cling to what's familiar or to worry about what may come. This practice allows you to experience your relationships as they are, without the distraction of fear or the longing for things to stay the same. Whether you're sharing a light-hearted conversation or sitting in quiet companionship, mindfulness helps you savor these moments. It's a beautiful way to honor the present without being burdened by the anxieties of what might happen tomorrow. Gratitude, too, plays a powerful role in embracing impermanence. Instead of focusing on the fear of loss, gratitude invites you to shift your perspective to the abundance you already have. Reflecting on the value of your relationships allows you to appreciate the richness of what you've shared, rather than worrying about what may be lost. It reminds you to celebrate what is present, rather than clinging to what has passed or fearing what will come. Accepting impermanence doesn't mean becoming indifferent or detached from your relationships. Far from it. It's about caring deeply and authentically, while recognizing that love is not something we can control or possess. This shift in perspective frees us from the burden of attachment and opens the door to deeper trust and understanding. Love becomes lighter and more genuine when we allow it to flow naturally, unencumbered by the need to define or contain it. Of course, loss is perhaps where the truth of impermanence hits hardest. When a relationship ends, or when a loved one passes away, the pain is raw and undeniable. I've experienced the sorrow of losing someone I cared about, and it's a grief that cannot be ignored. But by embracing the reality of impermanence, I've found a kind of comfort. The love I shared with that person, the memories, the lessons, and the moments we shared, they remain a part of me. In that sense, love transcends death and separation. It lives on in our hearts and shapes who we are, even after the physical presence of a loved one is gone. For parents, this process of letting go is often felt most acutely as they watch their children grow up and step into independence. As much as we may want to hold on, we must also learn to celebrate the growth of the relationship. Watching my child grow has been a journey of bittersweet joy. Realizing that the relationship is evolving, not fading, is one of the most beautiful and liberating realizations. When we embrace this natural progression, love deepens, transforming from the protective instinct of parenthood to a partnership of mutual respect and understanding. The truth is, impermanence is a gift. It frees us from the fear of losing love and opens us up to the beauty of experiencing it in all its forms. By accepting impermanence, we learn to love with a heart that's unafraid of change. And that, perhaps, is the most transformative kind of love. By understanding the role of impermanence in love, we begin to see our relationships in a new light, one that is more vivid, more authentic, and profoundly transformative. Each moment becomes an invitation, a chance to show up with compassion, openness, and presence. Instead of clinging tightly to what we think love should look like, we start allowing love to unfold naturally as it's meant to, free, expansive, and ever-changing. Letting go of the fear of change does not diminish the depth of our love. In fact, it allows us to love more deeply, more fully, and with more grace. When we embrace the fluidity of relationships, we open ourselves to a richer kind of connection, one built on trust, mutual respect, and a profound appreciation for the present. This is where love truly thrives, not in the illusion of permanence, but in the willingness to grow and adapt alongside the ever-changing rhythm of life. The idea of letting go without losing connection is one of the most liberating and transformative lessons we can learn in relationships. Far from creating emotional distance, letting go is actually about freeing both ourselves and those we love from the weight of control and unrealistic expectations. It's an act of surrender that deepens the connection rather than weakens it. Rooted in ancient Buddhist wisdom, the practice of letting go invites relationships to evolve naturally, with trust and mutual respect as their foundation. Buddhist teachings remind us that clinging often disrupts the natural flow of genuine love. When we hold on too tightly to someone, whether out of fear, insecurity, or the desire to preserve a bond exactly as it is, we unintentionally create tension and strain. In my own life, I've noticed that the times I try to control or cling to relationships, I only end up pushing the other person away, even if it's done subconsciously. It's a humbling realization that love thrives in an environment of openness, not possession. Letting go doesn't mean emotionally detaching or walking away from a relationship. It means releasing the need to control or manipulate, and instead trusting that love can flourish on its own without force or manipulation. The journey of learning how to let go starts with awareness. Often, we don't even realize when we're clinging. Do you find yourself feeling anxious when someone doesn't respond to your message right away? Or perhaps you subtly try to influence their decisions to align with your preferences. These patterns of control, although common, can slowly erode the foundation of genuine connection over time. The first step toward letting go is acknowledging these tendencies without judgment. Mindfulness, a core practice in Buddhism, offers us the tools to address this. By staying present with our thoughts and emotions, we can begin to notice when the urge to cling or control arises. Rather than acting on it impulsively, mindfulness encourages us to pause, observe the feeling, and simply let it pass, without labeling it as good or bad. It's in that pause that we create space for a more balanced, intentional response, rather than a reaction driven by fear or insecurity. P found that when I practice mindfulness in moments of tension, I can respond with greater clarity and calm, rather than with anxiety or a sense of desperation. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Equanimity is another powerful practice that helps us navigate the delicate balance of letting go. It teaches us to remain calm and composed in the face of life's inevitable changes, including changes in our relationships. Love and connection are not static, they evolve and transform over time. Equanimity encourages us to embrace these changes rather than resist them. When we stop fearing change, we open ourselves to deeper growth and stronger bonds. It's an invitation to trust that growth, even in its discomfort, will ultimately strengthen relationships. The realization that change can create a connection rather than diminish it is a profound shift. I have come to see that the most fulfilling relationships in my life are those that have adapted and evolved, weathering the ebb and flow of life with grace. Setting healthy boundaries is another key aspect of learning to let go without losing connection. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or distancing ourselves. They are about creating balance. They allow us to respect our own needs while still being there for others. For example, if you find yourself constantly prioritizing someone else's well-being at the expense of your own, it might be time to set a boundary. This protects your energy and emotional health while still preserving the relationship. It's an act of self-care that nurtures the relationship rather than draining it. In my own life, I've realized that setting boundaries doesn't mean I care less about someone. It means I'm taking care of myself so that I can continue to show up in a healthy, loving way. Compassion, too, plays a vital role in this process. True compassion means caring deeply for others, but it also means not taking on their struggles as your own. It's the ability to hold space for someone without absorbing their pain or trying to fix their problems. This kind of compassionate love allows you to support your loved ones while respecting their journey and their need for independence. It fosters a relationship based on mutual respect rather than dependence. I've experienced firsthand how liberating it feels to offer compassion without taking responsibility for another person's emotional state. It allows both people to thrive and grow independently, yet remain deeply connected. Gratitude is another practice that can transform our ability to let go. When we reflect on what we value most in our relationships, we shift our focus from the fear of loss to the abundance of what we already have. Gratitude helps us appreciate the beauty of the present moment, rather than clinging to what we think we need or what we fear might slip away. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we care in a way that nurtures freedom, trust, and authenticity. Gratitude, in its purest form, invites us to celebrate the richness of our relationships as they are, without demanding that they remain fixed or unchanging. This process of letting go is not a one-time event, but a continual practice. A practice of trusting that your relationships can thrive and deepen without the need for control. When you release the need to cling, you create space for greater authenticity, growth, and genuine connection. As you integrate these Buddhist practices into your relationships, remember that letting go is an ongoing journey. Each moment of awareness, each choice to trust rather than control, strengthens the foundation of love and connection. This is not a process of loving less. It is the path to loving better, more deeply, more freely, and with greater peace. This is how we learn to let go without losing what matters most, the true essence of love. Overcoming the challenges that arise when practicing detachment is often the hardest, yet most rewarding, step on the path to emotional freedom. It's one thing to understand the idea of letting go, but applying it to the messy, unpredictable realities of daily life is where true growth happens. It's in the everyday moments, the moments of discomfort and struggle, where we find the greatest potential for transformation. The journey toward detachment requires patience, awareness, and, above all, compassion for yourself and those around you. One of the first and most deeply felt challenges people face when practicing detachment is the fear of losing relationships. It's natural to think that letting go means losing the connection we cherish, and this fear can hold us back. Detachment is often misunderstood as cutting ties or withdrawing emotionally, but that's a misconception. The truth is far more nuanced, and, in my experience, much more freeing. Ancient Buddhist wisdom reminds us that detachment isn't about withdrawing from love or connection. It's about unburdening those relationships from the weight of control and fear. When we allow love to flow freely, relationships are no longer anchored by expectation. They become spaces where both people can grow and evolve without the pressure of being tied down. It's not about loving less, it's about loving in a way that allows freedom and authenticity to flourish. Another common struggle is dealing with feelings of insecurity. For many of us, attachment provides a fragile sense of stability, a sense that we can control or hold on to the people or things we care about. But when we begin to let go, it can feel like we're losing a part of ourselves or jeopardizing our place in someone's life. I've experienced this fear myself, and I can tell you it's completely natural. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Rather, it shows you where growth is needed. These insecurities are often the signals that we are stepping outside of our comfort zone and embracing change. Mindfulness, for me, has been an invaluable ally in overcoming these insecurities. By observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we can begin to sit with discomfort rather than react to it. For example, if fear or doubt arises in a relationship, mindfulness teaches us to pause, acknowledge the feeling, and allow it to pass. This creates space for clarity and intentional action, instead of reacting out of fear. When I've practiced mindfulness, I've noticed a huge difference in how I handle moments of doubt or insecurity. Instead of falling into old patterns of control, I've learned to sit with those emotions and trust that they are temporary. This simple shift has brought peace to my relationships in ways I never expected. One of the more subtle challenges of practicing detachment is dealing with guilt. Many people equate letting go with abandonment or neglect, especially in close relationships. We fear that if we let go too much, we might hurt the people we love or even lose them altogether. However, true detachment is rooted in care, not indifference. It's about allowing others the freedom to grow and change while trusting that your love remains strong. This perspective often requires unlearning societal or cultural expectations that equate control with care. I've had to unlearn these patterns myself. And while it's difficult at first, there's incredible freedom in knowing that you can love without trying to control. Boundaries play an essential role in managing these challenges. Setting healthy boundaries doesn't mean you care less. It means you care in a way that honors both your well-being and the well-being of others. For instance, when I've found myself constantly putting someone else's needs before my own, I've learned that setting a boundary isn't an act of rejection, but an act of self-love and mutual respect. Saying no when something doesn't align with your values or needs is an act of love for both you and the relationship. It's a delicate balance, but when practiced with compassion, boundaries protect the relationship rather than strain it. Another obstacle many of us face in practicing detachment is the temptation to revert to old habits when challenges arise. It's so easy to fall back into patterns of control, jealousy, or possessiveness patterns that were learned long ago, often out of fear. Ancient Buddhist philosophy teaches self-compassion during these moments. Change is never linear, and setbacks are a natural part of the growth process. When I slip into old patterns, instead of criticizing myself, I've learned to acknowledge my progress and recommit to the practice. The journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And even when I make mistakes, I remind myself that every step, no matter how small, brings me closer to the kind of love I truly want to give and receive. A powerful approach to reinforcing detachment is focusing on gratitude. When you feel the pull of attachment, take a moment to reflect on what you value most in your relationships. Gratitude shifts your focus from fear of loss to appreciation for what is. It's easy to slip into the mindset that we are losing something when we let go. But gratitude helps us see that what we have in the present is more than enough. This simple shift in focus can ease anxiety and bring greater peace to your relationships. It also strengthens the bond because instead of clinging to what we fear losing, we embrace the richness of what we have right now. Community support is also crucial when navigating the challenges of detachment. Sharing your experiences with trusted friends, a meditation group, or a mentor can provide not only encouragement, but also a sense of perspective. Knowing that others are walking the same path can alleviate the feelings of isolation that sometimes accompany deep personal work. I've found that the support of a like-minded community can serve as a constant reminder that I'm not alone in this journey. Lastly, it's essential to remember that practicing detachment is not about perfection. It's a process, an ongoing practice of growth. Each small step contributes to your development. Celebrate the moments when you notice progress, whether it's pausing before reacting, allowing a loved one the freedom to make their own choices, or setting healthy boundaries with compassion. These moments, no matter how small they seem, are the building blocks of a life rooted in trust, balance, and authentic love. Detachment is not the absence of love. Rather, it's the transformation of love into something more expansive, more liberating. By overcoming the challenges that arise in the practice of detachment, we create space for relationships that are not only stronger but more fulfilling for everyone involved. True love, as Buddhism teaches, is expansive. It flows naturally when freed from the weight of expectations and the grip of control. By releasing what we can no longer hold on to, we make room for a love that is deeper, freer, and infinitely more authentic. This is the transformative power of letting go. The path to loving without attachment is undoubtedly one of the most challenging and transformative journeys we can take. Letting go often feels counterintuitive, especially when the world around us continuously associates love with possession. We've been conditioned to believe that to truly love, we must hold on tightly, that love thrives in the grasp of control and expectations. But as we've explored, attachment does the opposite. It only breeds anxiety, insecurity, and an overwhelming sense of fear, all of which make it harder to truly connect with others. Letting go, on the other hand, frees us to experience love in its most authentic and fulfilling form. The process begins with small acts of awareness, pausing to observe our emotions, questioning our need to control, and choosing trust over fear. And while this practice may be difficult, it's one that, once embraced, leads us to a much deeper, more peaceful place in our relationships. This practice is not about perfection, It's about presence. And in the rush of daily life, it's easy to forget that presence is one of the most profound ways we can love. When we are fully present, free from the urge to control outcomes or people, we can truly appreciate the beauty of our relationships as they are without trying to hold on too tightly. It's in this space of presence that we learn to love with freedom. Each interaction, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to deepen connection, not by enforcing our expectations or demanding more, but through mutual respect and care. I've found that in these moments, love feels more genuine, more real. The kind of love that flourishes not because of obligation, but because both parties are freely choosing to care for each other in whatever form the relationship takes. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Loving without attachment also forces us to confront our deepest fears: fear of loss, fear of change, fear of not being enough. We often wonder, what if the love I give isn't returned? What if the people I cherish grow distant or change? These fears are deeply human, and they are the very fears that attachment feeds. When we hold on too tightly to someone or something, we give in to these fears, allowing them to dictate how we experience love. But the truth is, change is inevitable. People grow, relationships evolve, and sometimes they end. Instead of letting that truth paralyze us, we can choose to see it as part of the natural flow of life. In Buddhism, we are taught that impermanence is not something to fear, but something to embrace. When we accept that change is an essential part of love, we open ourselves up to its full beauty. Change doesn't signify failure, it signifies growth. And this growth can be just as enriching, if not more so, than the stability we crave. At the heart of this journey is trust. Trust that love is strong enough to exist without force. Trust that our love doesn't need to be anchored to the other person's behavior, their presence, or their ability to meet our needs. It simply needs to be freely given and received. Trust that we are enough, even when relationships evolve or end. This trust is not about believing that everything will always work out, but rather about accepting that, whatever happens, we are capable of adapting, growing, and finding fulfillment. The connections we nurture with kindness and compassion will always bring more fulfillment than those weighed down by the heavy burden of control. True love, the kind that frees us, is not conditional on another person's actions or on the outcome we desire. It's unconditional, flowing effortlessly, without the constraints of expectations or demands. When we let go of the need to control, we create the space for a love that is stronger and more resilient than we ever imagined. I've seen firsthand how embracing this trust can transform relationships. There's a peacefulness that comes with letting go of the need to possess or control someone's love. It's a peace that allows relationships to unfold naturally, without the constant tension of fear or insecurity. When we trust in the strength of love itself, we free ourselves to experience the full range of connection: intimate, raw, and real, without the burden of clinging. So, as you navigate this journey toward loving without attachment, remember that it's not about perfection or a rigid set of rules. It's about embracing presence and trust in the face of uncertainty. Love, in its truest form, is expansive, ever-changing, and free. By learning to let go without losing what matters most, we open ourselves to the greatest gift love can offer, a connection that is authentic, resilient, and deeply fulfilling. As we wrap up today's exploration into loving without attachment, I hope you've gained some valuable insights into how we can approach love in a more freeing and fulfilling way. From letting go of fear to embracing impermanence, we've discussed how to build stronger, more authentic connections by simply trusting in the flow of love rather than trying to control it. So, what have you learned so far? I'd love to hear from you. What's one key lesson you've taken away today, and how will you bring it into your life? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about how we can all apply these teachings to our relationships. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.